Here's a question for you. Shouldn't be very hard. What are the qualifications of Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene, in being the next senator of South Carolina? We all know that Donald Trump basically installed her under sympathetic reasons, right? This would be honoring Lindsey, and this was supposed to be temporary. Well, not so fast. Just yesterday, Darlene Graham announced that she is officially running for the next term, not just the next 40 days for South Carolina. And again, my question of you as you watch this is, what are Darlene's qualifications? How will she vote? Is she a liberal in disguise? Is she a Democrat? Or is she a true MAGA or America First Republican? Let's see what she has to say.
The president again saying, I hope Darlene does this. Meaning, I hope you will get, and here's the filing deadline for people that don't know, and these are just the laws of South Carolina. The filing begins tomorrow. I think you have a week.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And by that time, the funerals won't even have taken place.
I know.
And then the president's putting an ask on you, we'll put it that way. It's a lot of pressure.
It is a tremendous amount of pressure.
Tell me what's going through your head about it, and where do you stand now?
I'll continue to say I've been praying a lot, talking to my family, but with the love of my family, with the support of his staff. I know I'm a hard worker. I learned that from Lindsay. He cared about the people of this state. I've worked for almost 30 years for the people of this state.
I want to talk about that in a minute.
I feel like I can do it. I feel an inner peace about it. Will it be difficult? Yes, absolutely.
So you're inclined to get in, or have you even made a final decision?
I've made a decision.
You're in.
I'm in.
The president.
So there you go, folks. Darlene Graham is in. So again, the question is, who is she? What has she done? What's her platform? This is one of the most important seats in a thinly held majority within the Republican Senate, and we know nothing about her. And my concern, again, going to Donald Trump, what is her qualification? Can we do better? I'm going to make the case that we can absolutely do better, and I'm not even going to put my name on any of her running mates. I'm just going to prove to you with facts that Darlene Graham is not the best candidate for South Carolina. But before I do that, it's important to note that Lindsey Graham hasn't even been buried yet. So her brother, who she's mourning, has passed for 1 week. His funeral was just announced that he's going to be lying in state and doing all this stuff in South Carolina and in D.C. next week. So again, this was supposed to be and was sold to each one of us as a temporary position to honor Lindsey Graham's legacy. Now she's running full term, folks. This is how the swamp works. So who is Darlene Graham? What are her policy positions? She's a 62-year-old married lady. She's the sister of Lindsey Graham. And again, the best that AI can come up with is that Darlene Graham has very little public record or detailed personal policy positions. She's never held elected office before and has spent her career in state government roles focused on public service rather than politics. She has not, and this is still, looking back at the hit from Hannity, she has not released a campaign platform or issued any statements on such major issues as abortion, immigration, taxes, healthcare, guns, the economy. Nothing. All she said is that she intends to honor her brother's legacy and to carry forward the efforts of her brother on behalf of South Carolinians. She's pledged to support President Trump. We've heard that before. And in a recent interview, she specifically mentioned wanting to advance issues that were important to her brother, including sanctions on Russia. Well, does that also include the Ukraine war? He was very passionate about that. In fact, the last place that Lindsey Graham went to on, representing America's interests is over to Ukraine to visit a drone factory. And then 72 hours later, he's passed. So her whole professional career, the only thing that we can go on is that she's worked for 30 years on behalf of helping people with disabilities, specifically in South Carolina. That's fantastic. But again, South Carolina, you can do better than this. This type of, legacy and monarchy that we're starting to put into precedent, that just because you're somebody's sister or a family member does not make you the best candidate. So who are the other candidates that are in South Carolina? There's a number of them that have announced that they will be officially running for Lindsey Graham's seat. Mark Lynch, he was in the initial primary against Lindsey Graham, and now this is opening up again. Ralph Norman, Russell Fry, and then Darlene Graham, again, Lindsey's sister. So Lindsey said, or I'm sorry, Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene, said that she will basically just posit and push forward Lindsey Graham's policies. Well, what were Lindsey Graham's policies? How conservative was he? He wasn't. He was a complete rhino. His Liberty score is an F. And you can see here his most recent votes before he passed away. He was going in conflict with what conservative Americans would ask a conservative senator to vote for, right? He was voting up for gun control. He was voting up for busting a spending bill. He was voting up for gun control legislation, for funding the Ukraine war, for spending $300 billion on corporate welfare chip manufacturers, and also for earmarks on this $1.5 trillion omnibus bill. So Lindsey Graham is not a conservative, and Lindsey Graham's sister saying that she's going to, honor his legacy and do what Lindsey Graham would do or want her to do. That's not what the American conservative movement wants. We need somebody like Ralph Norman. This gentleman, he's been proven. We know what his policy statements are. So Ralph Norman, he gets an A from his Liberty score, which is essentially looking at his past and making sure that it aligns with American conservative values. Others like Mark Lynch, he's been a business person, so he doesn't have that track record that we can go on. But again, when you look at the different candidates that are now running, we have Ralph Norman, Mark Lynch, Russell Fry, and the sister of Lindsey Graham. And my question of you is, why is Donald Trump doing this? We have a proven conservative with Mark Lynch. We don't need to guess. We have now Darlene Graham that's saying that she's going to honor the not conservative, the rhino Republican history of Lindsey Graham, who supports foreign wars, who wants nothing more than to keep sending our precious missiles, taxpayer funding dollars, and troops potentially over to Ukraine. We know this because this was the last place that Lindsey Graham went before he unfortunately passed. So again, my plea to you, South Carolina, is that you can do better. My plea to you all who are watching this is just tell me in the comments, what qualifies for any history or proof for Lindsey Graham's sister Darlene? What makes her the best candidate? This is too important of a seat to just sit here and give it away to another rhino Republican. And I'm going to tell you this type of behavior is exactly how we got Lisa Murkowski. She's the representative out of Alaska. She was basically given, rhino representative out of Alaska, she was basically given her seat because her father passed away. And then it was one of these sympathy plays. This is exactly the same type of move, folks. This screams and reeks of DC swamp. And why Donald Trump is aligning with this is beyond me. But South Carolina, you have a choice. You have a choice to make. Are you going to be truly MAGA, not Donald Trump MAGA? And I say this as somebody that's voted for Trump 3 times. That this group of candidates, there is a clear conservative America First candidate. Absolutely clear. It's right here. It's Ralph Norman. There's also a clear candidate that's within this running. That's DC Swamp. I'll give you one hint. Full name, Darlene Graham. You have a choice in South Carolina. What do you do with the options that are in front of you? My request is to use facts, not just some talking statement from a political hack. And I would say she's a hack because she hasn't said what she stands for. She's just trying to use the sympathy of the electorate in South Carolina. And quite frankly, this type of record is what we have to stay away from, and we can do better, South Carolina. Let me know if I missed something. If you like videos like this, please share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to The Chris Locke Show. Be sure to like and subscribe to The Chris Locke Show for the latest America First news, conservative commentary, and the stories that mainstream media refuses to cover. These 2 videos right up here, they're going to be next. Pick your favorite. I'll see you over there.